So Shedeur Sanders has been making some headlines because he's being called, quote, arrogant after the NFL Combine. Shedeur did not work out at the 2025 NFL Combine, and he still was the most talked about prospect because there are some teams that have issues with the confidence. There is a report that one of the teams that's picking the top 7 claimed that Sanders came off as, quote, brash and arrogant. And according to NFL insider Josina Anderson, that was an assessment that Anderson disagreed with for various reasons, such as their interactions with Sanders. So some NFL insiders are saying that this is not accurate, that he wasn't giving off that vibe. But it's one of those 7 teams. I think they should just come out and say it was the Jets. I really think it was. You don't know? You don't think it was the Jets?
I hope it wasn't the Jets.
I mean, who would it be in that group? I mean, I just think that it's interesting. Now, Todd McShay, a longtime draft analyst, he also said that he heard from 2 teams that felt Sanders didn't care for what they thought of him during the interview process in a way that, quote, wasn't a professional approach. Now, whether there's any truth to this or not, these reports could potentially impact Sanders' stock. The Athletic did write that there's a chance that Sanders could just fall out of the top 6, but out of the first round. So not just out of the top 6, out of the first round. So we are talking about a draft that is considered to be one of the weaker quarterback drafts in recent memory. And Shedeur Sanders was up there with Cam Ward as really the 2 universal quarterbacks that were going to get picked first and second at that position. Cam Ward likely picked first, but there have been some mocks that have Sanders even taken as high as number 1. So if there's truth to this, this is going to be a major development for a quarterback that is the son of Deion Sanders. And I think that you look at Shedeur, his career at Colorado, this is someone that I think dealt with a lack of talent surrounding him. The numbers you look at when you focus on Shedeur, and you look at the overall passing numbers, you look at 4,134 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, 8 interceptions in 2024. He had the 20th highest QBR at 75.5, led that Buffalo's team that was undermanned compared to other elite programs to a 9-4 record in the Big 12. But the number that I focus on when I look at Shedeur Sanders' numbers is 99. And that is 99 sacks. That is how many sacks Shedeur Sanders took over the last 2 seasons in Colorado. He was running for his life, breaking the pocket, forced to make plays, forced to read defenses late, and he did just that. So I think, look, the confidence comes from a body of work, and I think he realizes that, hey, if I was at Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, all these big programs surrounded by better talent, the numbers would look better. I would be sacked less, and I should be among the top quarterbacks in the NFL draft. But it says, quote, a lot of draft evaluators out there are looking at this, and some of the teams are talking about this, and he's not a fit for every single organization out there. Did we forget that he's the son of Deion Sanders? Did we forget that he is prime son? And no, he's not prime time, but he's also not like Wednesday afternoon, right? He's someone that still is a really, really good, very, very talented player. Does he project to be one of the best players of all time like his dad? No, but he certainly has a skill set, the ability to push the ball down the field, the accuracy. I think you could make the case that he's a more polished passer than Cam Ward is. The ball placement, the poise he plays, the poise that he exudes at that position. I think that for him, he just got to get the ball out quicker. And I think that has to do with the offense that he played in and the talent that was around him. So he's not the most mobile guy. The accuracy, though, how steady he is under pressure, I think it's no doubt about it. If he's not a first rounder, there's a major problem. But here was Shedeur Sanders during the NFL Combine. And look, for me, it's 2 things. You either like this, you either want this to be your quarterback and you see this as a plus, or maybe he's not a certain fit for certain teams.
If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't give me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over, and I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people got to say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. So it's like it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like the adversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are.
There you go. So he's leaning all the way into the primeness, the Deion Sanders influence on his son. So I think for me, teams are stupid to be against this. If they're calling him arrogant, I think that they're taking just confidence and saying it's arrogance. But guess what? All quarterbacks, they should have an arrogance to them. They should have a confidence to them. And I like this about Shedeur. And to me, this is only a plus. This is a reason I would draft him versus not drafting him. Look at Shedeur versus Bronny James, right? No slight at Bronny James, but he doesn't exude kind of LeBron James when he was at his level, right? Bronny James is someone that's a G leaguer, definitely a good G leaguer, definitely someone that you could say where he was picked in the second round, you can justify it at this point, but he doesn't give off a lot of LeBron James confidence. He doesn't give off a lot of LeBron James as far as the size and attributes. I would rather have a Shedeur Sanders acting like a Coach Prime and having that attitude. And look, I think it's the Jets. I think it's the Jets. That's my goal. I think it's the Jets that are saying he's arrogant.
What?
Why don't, who do you think it is? It's not the Raiders.
I think they put top 7, honestly, just to, mix it up. But I really don't think that was the Jets. Like I honestly, from what I've heard from Aaron Glenn, from the team, I just don't think Aaron Glenn would make that comment about Shedeur Sanders, especially because I think Aaron Glenn has high respect for Deion Sanders. I mean, Aaron Glenn was a DB.
But it might not be Aaron Glenn. I mean, look at this. The Titans, they're probably going to draft. Hopefully I don't think they should take Cam Ward, but I think they take Cam Ward. The Browns, think it was the Browns. Think it was
the Browns, who have been I don't want to say the word, a something show for so long that, I mean, it could have been the Browns. I mean, but also, Doug, I'll say this, though. Like, realistically, this all could be smoke and mirrors, too. Like, to get guys to not be as interested in drafting him in certain areas.
It's flying season.
It is
flying season.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's flying season 100%.
But do you think that him embracing that side of his game, I mean, the chains, the what, I mean,
yes.
This is the guy that made this a thing. I mean, that was like one of the most universally replicated touchdown celebrations at the middle school level, the Pop Warner level, the high school level, the college level. So why are people surprised that he's carrying this on into the NFL? Like, I think it's silly. I mean, I think calling someone arrogant is just a little out of pocket because I think it's just misconstrued.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Ultimately, Doug, if your quarterback isn't a little arrogant, not a bit delusional about themselves as a player, I really don't want that quarterback on my team, because the reality when it comes to Shedeur Sanders is, he's rich already, Doug. He don't need the money from the NFL. He enjoys the game of football. He's been playing it his entire life. And when it comes down to it, scouts are nitpicking him because I really feel like when he came into this in Colorado, there's so many people who wanted it to fail. There was a lot of people that did not want to see that turnaround they had in their second year. And although they won 9 games despite winning 4 the year before and 0 the year prior to that, they still didn't do good enough in people's eyes because they didn't go to maybe the Big 12 championship. But the turnaround was already seen. He's the best pure passer in the class, Doug. I mean, D-Mac, if I would to compare him, I would comp him. I've said it on
the most. I agree, most polished.
It's not even close.
Sure.
Accuracy, layering the football, and honestly, he's a better player at the position within the pocket than Cam Ward. And what I mean by that is, he's going to take a hit to the chin, Doug, and deliver a strike, and then
Toughness.
Get up. And
go into Brady mode.
Yes, go Brady mode. This is why I compare him to. I know people don't like these comparisons, but I give him like a hybrid cross legitimately between him and Joe Burrow. And the only reason I say Joe Burrow every time is because the ability to not be a crazy athlete, but not afraid to stand in the pocket and make throws when the pocket is at its most chaotic, when it is collapsing. That's something you can't teach, Doug. That's just guts. That's just flat out guts. And this is a kid who has shown that. And the 99 sacks that he's been through.
It's a big number, man.
It's a huge number. But Doug, let's not forget, last season, not this one that just passed, they were the worst offensive line in college football. This year after, they put a 5-star freshman, an 18-year-old, to play left tackle and protect Shedeur's blind side, and they were still only the 53rd ranked pass blocking unit in the country. For them and for the numbers for him to accumulate and amass, it's so impressive, Doug. And no running game. They had no 1,000-yard rushers, nothing to take that stress on him. And yeah, you could say he may hold the ball too long, but Doug, in a lot of cases, he had to be a hero in moments for that team to succeed. They would have lost to North Dakota State twice if he doesn't have the type of heroics that he's had. So ultimately, I think a lot of that arrogance is because Shedeur Sanders is the son of Deion Sanders, and he doesn't shy away from the spotlight that he's in. But at the end of the day, Doug, has he ever been in trouble with the law? Have you ever heard a scandal about him? Everybody just hates that he's too confident for his own good. And might I add you this? Is Patrick Mahomes not a little arrogant about himself? Or Josh Allen's of the world, the Aaron Rodgers, the Peyton Mannings, all these top quarterbacks that we've seen, you don't think they think they're the best in the world? So why should we be crucifying him or debating whether or not it's okay for him to have this utmost confidence in himself?
You know what this is to me, J-Rob? This is C.J. Stroud's Wonderlic test. This is Jaden Daniels' weird elbow picture. Remember that picture that went viral where it looked like his elbow was popping out? And I was like, what the hell's wrong with Jaden Daniels? Yeah. They're always going to try to find ways to break dudes down. Yeah. And they are. But the reason why I think it's the Jets is because it's like, that's such a random number. It's one of the top seven picks. Yeah. What happens after the seventh pick? It's the Jets. But I mean, like, I totally agree. I think that the Joe Burrow comparisons, I think, are like, Shedeur's athletic enough to extend plays. Mm-hmm. And he can make throws in tight windows, and he can do just that. He does take too many sacks. I think from a decision-making standpoint, that is, I think, just trust that first, second, or third read versus kind of trying to go for that big home run play like he was doing in Colorado. It was a little bit of a backyard football during time, but sometimes they had to do that just because they were trailing in games. Their defense was so bad, but I think he's going to be just fine. I like him on the Raiders. I think that the Raiders makes the most sense to me for him just because I think Brady mode, mentor Tom Brady, silver and black. I think they can use a guy with some edge. I don't like him. I wouldn't ever want anyone that I want to have success with go to the Cleveland Browns. The Titans are a franchise that I think has been in limbo too. But yeah, look, it's the Sanders name. It is the polarization of that one guy. They got to find the one guy to break down, and this year happens to be Shedeur Sanders. So, hey, yes, I one more thing. Throw it in there.
I will also say this, too. The NFL would love for Shedeur to go to the Raiders because you can put Shedeur and Patrick Mahomes' faces on posters for the next decade at least, and it would make, the ratings would be through the roof.
For sure. No, I mean, look, he is going to be, I think, a good NFL quarterback. I really do. I mean, he's measured in at just under 6'2", but I mean, just look at some of the highlights here. I mean, just great anticipation. I mean, I think for him in an offense with like a Chip Kelly offense, and kind of a quick passing game and someone that can push the ball vertically when he needs to, I think that's going to make him interesting. But he definitely needs to have a good fit, a good team that's going to embrace who he is and is going to want to be linked to Deion Sanders. And let's not forget the Raiders, as Noel Sanchez's shirt's repping today. They are a team that hasn't had a lot of success, but they are still one of the 5-10 really iconic marquee franchise in the sport as far as their following.